What's up, YouTube? I want to do a video about a product I've had for actually almost 10 years now, and it's actually in the new John Wick movie. Basically, it's a Microtech knife. This one is the Scarab, double-edged, black finish blade. And I've had this knife. I got it. Actually, my wife got it for me as a gift when I changed careers back in 2007, and went into law enforcement or whatever. And this was kind of my gift from her, basically my first day of work or whatever. So it was pretty nice of her to pick this up for me. I wanted one for a long time. My state, you're not basically allowed to own them unless you're law enforcement. So this thing, I've carried it pretty much daily since 2007. It's got a lot of wear as far as carry wear. It's worked great. It's been babied. It's not what I open boxes with and stuff like that. It don't see a lot of blade use actually. It's more of carried for like just a defensive purpose knife, because I like it because it's basically deployable with one hand, in and out. Do that. But basically, why this is a lot tougher button, kind of the tension on it, when you compare them to a Benchmade Infidel. I looked at the Infidels and I did a lot of research on them, and you know, she knew what I wanted basically when it came time to buy it. I did look at the Infidel. It just came out at the time, and when I seen one in person, the deployment action seemed kind of not as fast, not as robust as the Microtech. And the difference on the Benchmade, when I was researching them or whatever, is the spring's under tension when it's out, and the spring's under tension when it's in. What's the difference between the Microtech is basically that's why that you get right there and you get to like a wall, and basically it's like a kicker spring. So what it is you're loading that kicker spring and it kicks the blade out, and then the spring's no longer under tension. And then basically when you pull down, you're loading that kicker spring, it kicks the blade back, and then it's no longer under tension. So it can be stored either way, open or closed. Where it says something like the Benchmade or like long-term storage, you know, you kind of like alternate between out and in or whatever, and it had a cycle life of, you know, something pretty crazy like 20,000 deployments or something like that was, you know, the service life of the spring. Something you're probably never gonna reach or exceed, except when you first get one, because you're doing this like all day. You know, you probably got 500 deployment and whatever the first day I got it, just playing with it. But it's been a good knife. It was a spendy knife, I know. Once you picked it up, it wasn't a small purchase. But like I said, it's quality. You just, you know, look at it, and if it's still working almost 10 years later, you obviously know it's quality. No hiccups. The only quirks about, and this is pretty much the same with all out the front design knives. I don't really have anything here like a piece of change, but basically whatever pocket you carry this in, you can't carry change in that pocket, loose change. Because what happens, like I've had it before, you pull it out, like say in the evening or whatever, you take it out of your pocket, and there'll be a dime actually wedged in there. So, and I've had them before where I had to take a pair of pliers, I couldn't get it out with my hand. So, you know, that would be a bad situation if you actually had to deploy it, you pulled it out and you got a dime stuck in it, it's not going nowhere. So just something to think about. You basically lose that pocket to small items and change or whatever that you carried in. And because like I said, they'll wedge in there and it'll jam it. The blade finish has held up nice. I don't know if you can see any of that at all. This camera sucks. So, but you know, it's a little bit of blade finish wear or whatever. But like I said, this knife hasn't seen a lot of cutting use. Every once in a while, you know, I'll open a box with it or something like that. But nothing crazy. I have other knives for, you know, utility work, so it definitely wasn't a utility based knife. And they're supposed to be lifetime guaranteed. As far as I know, Microtech's still in business. I know it was sketchy going back and forth or whatever after they stopped manufacturing their Steyr odd copies. So I assume they're still in business. You still see their knives pop up here and there, and like I said, I don't know if they're just clearance blowing them out. But I haven't seen a Scarab in a long time. I think this is a discontinued model through them. So it's been a while since I actually seen a Scarab. But I believe that's the model actually John Wick has in the movie as well. I believe it is a Scarab knife. When I looked at them, this was like the perfect size. They make you know, quite a few different models, or did at the time, you know, the Truden, the Combat Truden, stuff like that. The Combat Truden was huge. It was a bigger knife, but this to me is like kind of the perfect defensive size knife. Another neat feature on this knife, let me get something here that won't damage the blade, is basically if you poke it into, it doesn't deploy for whatever reason. So now you're stuck like that. The blade didn't go out for whatever reason. Well, see, since it's not under spring tension at this time, basically all you have to do is basically just whip it out. So if for some reason it doesn't deploy fully and lock, you know, all you have to do is basically sling it out. And now that it's back locked, now it's back to resetting, so it can be deployed and back again. So it's kind of a nice feature too. So it's kind of like a malfunction clearing or whatever, I guess you'd say. If it doesn't deploy for whatever reason, or if you make contact when it comes out, you know, it doesn't have enough force that it would go into somebody or something. Like I said, it's just that spring kicking it. Once it kicks, that's all it has to do with tension. So I mean, obviously it's sharp. I wouldn't want to put my hand in front of it and deploy it. You know, I'm sure it'll poke into me, but it's not something you could basically put it up to someone's gut and fully deploy it. It's not going to do that. It doesn't have that much force. But that feature not being under spring tension is really nice because, like I said, if it does jam, wham, you know, it locks back out and then you're ready to go. And you can put it back in, take it back out, whatever. So, like I say, nice, held up well. I've had it for a long, long time. I've carried it. This thing's got a lot of miles on it. Good knife. They were spendy at the time. I don't know what they go for now. I know they had some real like Damascus models and stuff that were way up there. Some clear limited edition with like plexiglass or whatever it is inside, so you can see the inner workings of them. This one, I want to say she paid about $500 back in 2007, right in there. So I mean, it wasn't a cheap purchase. I mean, that was a Glock, you know, back then. So really neat knife, guys. Really enjoy it. Like I said, I still have it to this day. I carry it all the time. I love it. It's a good piece of equipment. Good knife, good blade. It's only been sharpened a few times. It holds a real good edge, but like I said, I don't use it a lot. So it's not like it's cutting boxes all day and you know the edge lasts for 5 years. I think I've had it sharpened 3 times since I've owned it. And there's one guy in town that I trust to do it. And unfortunately, he is getting old or whatever. And he retired last I heard. So I don't know who I'm going to trust to sharpen it because it's just not something you just trust any guy who thinks he can sharpen a knife to do it. There was one guy I trusted, and like I said, I think he's retired now. So I'll have to find someone that can put an edge back on it when it needs it. But till then, like I said, if you guys can find them online, if you're interested in out the front knife, I would definitely recommend looking at these. They're hard to find in person. Obviously, not a lot of people stock them because of the cost, as opposed to the Benchmade. Benchmade, good knife. I think the first Infidels I looked at had the button in the center kind of here, which was kind of a weird position, I thought. I prefer it on the end, but I think they're making an Infidel with the same button location now as this. So they are good knives. Benchmade don't make garbage knives, but I would just say this is kind of the Cadillac of out the fronts, where the Benchmade's kind of the Toyota. Good product, just not the flagship top of the line. If you guys can find one, like I said, to try out, or if you can, like I said, if you can just hear that deployment when it locks up. I mean, it's got a good lockup. There's very little wiggle. No side to side, or back and forth this way. And like I said, you're going to have some in out the front because they have to lock. So they have to come out and lock in there. So there's got to be if the tolerance was so tight it wouldn't lock up every time. So good knife, guys. If you see them, check them out. I'm sure you can find them on knife websites for sale still, even if they are discontinued. Like I said, I haven't looked lately, so I don't know what their current prices are. But great knife for the money. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.